All right. Hello, Arx. I am XingKazma, and this is Anamana. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty good. Heat's getting lower, which is very happy times.
Wait, the heat's getting lower over there?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it's gone from like 30-degree days, 32-degree days to like 24. And the next week is going to be like even lower, which is perfect.
You hear that, guys? That means more content. Hey, what's going on, everybody, though? Today you are listening to Oracle Fleet Podcast Episode 10, your weekly podcast for Phantasy Star Online 2 news and information specifically for the global servers. Today we are joined by Azelyra, a PSO2 content creator and streamer from the JP side of things, and we do appreciate you joining us for today's show. RC, how are you doing today?
Doing great, thank you very much.
So, got a bit of a question for you. Would you be okay, staying with us, hanging out, and answering some questions so everyone can get to know you?
Hey, trust me, this is exactly what I signed up for, right?
Yeah.
That's true. All right, well, we're coming at you with everything today. So my question is, all right, now whenever you said I'm thinking about the picture, when did you start your journey with Phantasy Star?
I've been playing Phantasy Star since basically just about the very beginning of it, like the Halloween of that year. So just a little bit before like the second year of PSO2 and everything. So more or less really ancient, to be honest. And never really let up since. In fact, I'm actually super close to 30k hours in my playtime.
Oh my god,
That's pretty big.
We're actually going to reach that very, very soon.
how many more hours if you know off the hand?
Less than 300.
Damn.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
This must happen. Must be a 30k celebration.
Very soon.
So I mean 30k hours, that's honestly a lot. And even with NA we have people who are struggling to, I guess even maintain about 10-20 at the most, just coming in brand new or whatever. Any tips on like something that keeps you playing PSO2 throughout your years on the game?
One of the things that is very important about playing an MMO, right, is you have to understand that the game is just a medium for you to get to know all the wonderful people in the community, or at least that's like exactly how I see it. Because at the end of the day, it's not even just MMO games, but just gaming in general, right? Because for me, how I started gaming was actually quite a bit of a journey, where I'm just gonna tangent into this now.
Go right
So
ahead.
when I'm an Asian person, I'm an Asian kid in a very, very Asian family, and my parents are both musicians, right? So I've been basically like shoehorned, I guess you can say is the word, into really just like practicing playing piano, playing all the instruments and everything since basically I was 2 years old. And then I never really had a quote unquote like childhood as much as other people per se, because I never really got a chance to play a lot of video games from like, say, I never got to play any of the PlayStation stuff. I don't have any handhelds. I don't have any like of those experiences at all, which a lot of people are like, man, your life must have sucked. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not that bad. But one time in around like when I was in around grade, I think it's like grade 7, grade 8 or so, I got in a big injury where I was admitted to hospital for like 8 months because I couldn't walk, and then my leg was like broken, my bones fractured and stuff like that. Well, everything is like completely recovered and stuff now, but when I was in hospital, right, I like was just on my mom's laptop, and then that's how I started my journey in video gaming, which the friends on the first game that I played that I made online was like, yo man, there's like PSO2 coming out, and that was like 2012, right? And I was like the only guy who knows how to speak Japanese anyways in the group, and they were like, yeah, hey, you know how to speak Japanese, why don't you help us get into PSO2? Because we used to play like Phantasy Star back in the day in like the GameCube and stuff. And then that's basically how my PSO2 journey began. It was all about friends to begin with, and still is, even to today.
What was the game before PSO2?
It was a online Java game actually called Spyro Knights, which is also by Sega.
I've heard of
Sega bought it over.
I was kind of hoping for AQ Worlds. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was hoping it would come out.
You know
A
what?
lot of people.
I was kind of expecting you to say something like Guns the Duel or something like that, which was like
A lot of people would say RuneScape. People are like, did RC play RuneScape? I'm like, no.
wow.
Escape is the bane of my existence. While everyone was playing RuneScape back in elementary school, I was playing AQ Worlds. I was the oddball. Beating Dungeons and Dragons in a football suit. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about PSO2, like, I mean, yeah, you have a lot of experience in PSO2. And I'm very certain you've played through pretty much everything they've had to offer, like even on the JP side. So the next question we have is, what is the content that you find yourself enjoying the most in Phantasy Star?
Screenshotting content.
Huh?
Literally, is screenshotting considered content?
Okay, this is my rule for that one. Considering that there's at least like 5 different pieces of how you can go about screenshotting, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it too, so yes.
Yeah, no, but that's a boring answer though. If anything, to be honest, like if what do I enjoy personally the most, right, is basically the tower defense quests are generally like the best ones in my honest opinion. Back in the day, back in like the episode 2, 3 like days in the beginning where tower defense was like completely new, and we literally just had to like struggle so hard where like we didn't have all the balance changes we have now, and then everything, it was such a struggle. It was such a struggle to even like get consistent clears and everything like that. So yeah, it was one of the crazy times.
Was that back in the day where we didn't have a lot of movement PAs and stuff like that?
Yep, none at all. And then everyone was sitting on like 140 PP at best.
Wow.
And then the damage was like, you would be a god if you could do like 24k.
Damn. Alright, because like I've played since the beta, but I just haven't played since the beta. Like I basically would come in for like a week or two every now and then and try things out, but it never kind of stuck for me because I think there was that weird mental barrier that I shouldn't be playing on JP. So I just come across and try it every time. So I mean, there's so many features that they've removed from PSO2. Like I was having a look at the tree stuff yesterday when I was making a video, and they've actually removed like 2 of the options for the alliance tree, which was to do with, was it like photon blast generation or something like that? And then we've had the matter board. Like, there's so many things that they've removed that NA just hasn't been privy to unless they played it.
Mm.
Dude, I remember coming into PSO for the first time.
It's actually funny because like some of my viewers and stuff are like, RC, you should make like a PSO2 Historian channel. I'm like, okay.
That'd be like, people would be interested in that.
It would be a very interesting one, right? Because like coming up to New Genesis, like maybe I can do it as like a side project, right? Looking at like PSO2 to begin with, leading up to New Genesis.
Yep.
Maybe that's a cool idea for a video.
Like it'd be cool to see stuff like 5 things that we're glad is no longer a part of PSO2 or something like
right?
that.
The hardest part though is to actually find proper footage of that because I actually have nothing.
Yeah, I mean you'd have bumped for screenshots, but unless you got in touch with people that have videos up on YouTube and checked if you could use their video or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, because I only started really making videos in the late episode 2, starting of episode 3 and things like that, so I don't have like the ancient footages. But yeah, speaking of like the matter board, believe it or not, I actually 100% cleared every single node on like all the matter boards like 5 times over, and I probably want to like die thinking about it.
So
matter board?
Yeah. With I really vaguely understand what the matterboard was. Like I know what it looks like. I know that it was almost like like the Arcs bingo card, kind of at a very vague level. But did we have one for like? Was there one for each episode, or was there one for each story arc, or like how did they work?
Literally each story chapter. You had to go into quests, go into very specific areas, and then find the matterboard pop-up thing. Or like you have to go and find certain enemies at a certain area and then kill it and then hope you get a specific drop from it to continue with the story.
Damn. Literally
I get the concept, right? They try to make everything like, oh, it's immersive. The story just happens when you play the game, but it turns out that you're on literally a manhunt for all these items that you need for the matterboard, and it's like, why are we doing this again?
Yeah.
Oh my god, was that back when the story had like that little it was like a layout. It was like a layout when you would go into the actual room or the actual room upstairs instead of going to the quest counter, and it was like a whole layout. If that makes any sense, if I'm saying it correctly.
Do you mean like the episode 4 one? Because they had a weird thing where it was like this. It was almost like a horizontal flowchart, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, at least that was like 10 times better than Matterboard.
I actually didn't mind that system because it looked better than the current quest menu. At least I feel.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Episode 4's one was super.
Definitely made it seem like things were a lot. Like it wasn't so congested. It made it seem like the story was a lot shorter than what it is now. You're just going cutscene after cutscene, and then you have to load after every cutscene. It's like,
You know what's actually really good about that as well is that it flowed better chronologically. Like if I just sped through all the quests right now, and then at the end I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do the sub quests." I've got no context of where they actually sit in the story. Whereas with the flowchart, I did, right? Because they actually stem off from each specific story piece.
That and also be glad that the story is now account shared.
Yes.
And it's not character based.
Absolutely. Was it like that with Matterboard? Like, was it character based?
It was character based.
Damn.
And then to access like some quests and stuff, you need to be at certain points in Matterboards and stuff.
That's not good.
So like people had to like hard rush or like campaigns and things like that. They'd be like, you have to have like Matterboard 3 clear. People are like, oh, I guess I'll die.
Miss me with that. I'm sorry. I would leave.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and I'm very glad none of you guys have to experience that. Let alone 100%ing the Matterboard 5 times.
So like I came through around because I played it when it came out, but I didn't understand Japanese, so I actually left my account, and then I came back around the time it came out on PlayStation 4. So I don't know if it was around during that time or not, because that was about right going into episode 4, like episode 3, episode 4. That I came into.
That was actually when PSO2 actually got like significantly better.
Oh my god, it was a dream. And then going into episode 5 immediately was just such a big change. I didn't know where to go. I was using like 2 different screens. I was on like Visiphone and remember Sonopedia. I was on Visiphone, Sonopedia, and Bump trying to like use 3 different sources to figure out where to go. It was so draining, but it was so worth it for a good game, I will tell you. So
yeah, it was quite it was quite rough for sure.
Go ahead.
Especially in the very beginning of like episode 5 was like the time where PSO2 players dropped an all-time low literally because Hero released.
Yeah, I remember coming back when Hero was a thing, and it was like, wait, is this like why am I seeing so many people? Is this like really good? And I never really understood the context of it, but now that we've got the Western version and people have been, sharing that history of it, it sounds like episode 5 was really like a turning point in terms of design and I guess making sure they were being serious about class balance and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Episode 5 was literally when I'd say at the end of episode 5 is literally like the basis of how PSO2 is nowadays, which I do think is a very good and bad thing, because the bad part being that the game doesn't really feel as much Phantasy Star as it was before, right? Now it's more of like a very fast-paced like action, hack and slash, looter, shooter kind of thing.
Yeah,
if you would say that kind of thing. When before it was a lot more of a struggle to even like, you had to literally party up with people to clear super hard field bosses because that was the hard content, right? It was a more like very Monster Hunter-esque where every monster is very rewarding to like beat down, things like that. And it did take a lot of effort from a lot of people.
I don't know if you
but then
sorry, I was just gonna say I don't know if you played PSO1 or Phantasy Star Universe, but it feels like PSO has always kind of funneled towards boss rush content. Like in PSO1 we had a quest called Towards the Future, and there was like different ones for other episodes, but basically you'd go through a segment of like forest, you'd kill the boss, you go through mines, you'd kill the boss, you go through caves. So I feel like in that regard it's kind of the same, but I can definitely understand that it has definitely shifted in the content meta. Like just looking at Morning and Demise, it feels like a bullet hell shooter compared to the other urgent quests, right?
It's a bit of a funny one. I did enjoy it a lot though. Morning is very, very peculiar, but also very fun. In that it's a very structured quest, but there are many ways to go about it, which has a bit of like replay value here and there. But some of the parts, like the very beginning one where you just got to shoot the ships and stuff like that, is a bit of a hit or miss for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
I'm sorry, I think you guys were still going. I waited just a little bit because I didn't want to say something to cut someone off. But I was just enjoying the conversation.
That's so good.
So like throughout your years on PSO2, do you have a favorite moment? And I want to ask you guys both this because I know we asked this before, Anamana, but I want to know if you have like any different ones that you can think of off the top now. You know, do you have a favorite moment from your time with PSO2?
Like something that's different. I like joining Tier 1 with Cami has been really fun because the alliance for the Tier 1 members has like a voice chat and it's pretty chill. Everyone's trying to help each other get better. It's not about, it's like a wholesome competitive rather than like a you're bad competitive, and like I really vibe with that. So I think just in general playing with my alliance has been really good.
That's good. I know I just came back, and when I came back to ship 1, I'm on tier 1.1. Not with the crew officially, but you know, it helps.
The community social tier 1. Did you end up moving?
What about you?
Sorry,
Wait,
did you end up moving completely to ship 1? Because I remember you saying that you were gonna do that.
I still have a character on ship 2.
Okay.
Basically more leveled up than my ship 1 character, so I thought why not just take my ship 1 character to ship 1 and then just keep my ship 2 there, because it's like 80 something. I just turn it into a luster, it'll be fine.
Okay.
Everything. What about you, RC? Any favorite moments in PSO2 that you remember?
Here, I'll be the hero to what Anamana just said. You guys are competing, like friendly competition to like prove and everything. I'll say one of my favorite moments in PSO2 is literally being the king of tower defense and literally everyone trying to beat my scores.
That's fair.
Was this with the leaderboard or like with times and stuff like that?
Yes. It's a very peculiar thing. It's a very peculiar thing because like, hey man, my team's always like, yo, let's beat RC's score today and stuff like that, but that just doesn't end up happening.
What about you,
I have
King?
a question. I wanted to ask a question about RC's score thing. So, because I've never actually understood, outside of just like defeating enemies, how does the score, accumulate?
Honestly, a lot of people have always told me like, yo man, it's like the first hits, last hits, and things like that. But here I am, I'm like, I never think of any of that stuff. I just go around, help anywhere I can, kill everything I see, and then I just get score. Like, that's literally all I can say. I have no idea how the mechanics work. I never tested it. I never anything. Some people say like, yo, RC is like a score whore. I'm like, I don't even know how the system works.
I feel like it's kind of arcane because sometimes I won't actually get many kills, but I'll collect a lot of crystals and somehow I'll end up on top.
Well, I never touch crystals. Only the ones that I go past. Because that's like not really efficient. When I run with my team, right? We literally don't even need to go for crystals at all because enemies literally never touch the towers.
I normally go for kills and then I'll be in like 6th place and I'm like, huh? I just took like 3 bosses, a tower, and then I got the helicopter up top and a mech, and then they're just like, yeah, but you didn't defend the towers or you didn't collect crystals. I'm just like, I don't get how this works anymore. I just completely lose it after a point. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to be in 7th place every time.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a flex, right? Because like at the end of the day, no matter what you do, is the fact that like if you can clear S rank with like your group or everything like that, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
That's true. Definitely getting that leg piece. Whew. That was heck. So, and you asked me what was my favorite moment. Right now, I do have to say it is soloing the special training at the moment. I was able to I did like 2 runs the other day and turned like a 40-minute run for like the trial. And then I did a serious run and turned it into like 21 minutes, trying to see if I can decrease that time a little bit. But didn't know how OP those turrets were until I started launching them, and they do like 250k per shot, which is pretty disgusting.
Oh, is that the episode 6 training?
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun. I've been trying to solo it with Luster on full mount. So that's got to be my favorite thing to do right now, just because I kind of ran out of stuff to do.
Yeah, it's a bit tedious to like just do it though, but because the turrets, it just made a lot of things possible. It's really annoying though, because when you're on the turrets and you're trying to like clear all the side ships and everything like that, you kind of need the super armor. Otherwise, you get knocked out of the turrets, or sometimes you just can't see, and it's very annoying.
We don't have Kraz yet either.
So it is definitely a pain, especially fighting double and Elder at the same time. Mainly because double is just a nuisance. Elder I can fight on its own, but like double, just all that AoE one-shotting me, the potential is too much. So I have to be super careful when fighting him. And I don't use Barn style, so that's another reason why I die a lot.
Oh, do you not have a lot of like health on your units?
About 1400, which I figured would be good enough, and then I learned that lesson the hard way. I'm looking to redo my fixes soon. I'm just waiting for Crash to come out. I have a recipe that I'm going to do with Guardian Soul. Hopefully it works. If not, I'm going to just cry ever so gracefully in my bed.
Yeah, it's actually really funny sometimes when I really look back at PSO2, right? Because there's so many meta shifts all over the time. Like episode 6 was another really big meta shift as well, from offense to basically just having a lot more defensive and HP based units, because everything just hits so hard and you don't do DPS if you're dead. So
that's like the hard balance, is having enough attack power but also not neglecting like a little bit of defense and a little bit of hit points.
Yeah,
but
that, and also like the more stats you have of something, the more diminishing it becomes. So
yeah, absolutely.
The way I tend to look at it is just like, if I have classes that have a lot of dodge potential like Phantom or Luster, I just kind of say, oh, screw health, I'm just going to not get hit. And then I just die until I get.
Sometimes you don't have a failsafe, which is why I literally just sit here on like 2400 health.
Oh my god!
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, attack at units in the end game, it's really easy to fix everything, right? 2400 health overall, basically 300 something PP, and then 260 attack per unit. So it's like, yeah, okay.
And it's gonna get a lot easier. And I feel like North America, or the global version, has a much easier time with those affixes. Like, people keep memeing saying, yep, just waiting on the Guardian Soul capsule to drop.
I actually think they might do that.
I don't think that will, but you know, just as memes.
It'll probably happen at like the very, very tail end of the game.
Yeah.
But like not now.
No.
Like, because we do have capsules for basically everything that's not Guardian Soul.
Yeah,
so.
Just like the requirements, or some of them at least.
I figure if they wouldn't do it for Guardian Soul, they would at least do it for like Absolute Glare and stuff like that. Like anything that is a direct material for Guardian Soul.
Yeah. I mean, while it's nice and all, it has to be stressed for all the viewers as well, as that it's not the end all be all. Like, you don't need Guardian Soul. Right. You really don't.
I try to tell people focus on just like learning their class the most, because all that means nothing if you're dying and not, putting out a certain rotation or damage.
Yeah. I always tell everyone that PSO2 is like 80% skill, 20% gear.
I actually did a poll on that recently, and pretty much like that was the highest thing. Like, I get so many vocal people saying that if you don't have like the best affixes, you're bad at the game. But like the poll results pretty much showed that skill was like the main thing, and knowing your class. And then the bottom two were like equipment and like affixing, and then balance was the biggest thing. But like,
I have no idea why people are so hell-bent on affixes.
Yeah, like I mentioned way back, because I had a few people that played Japan say, yeah, don't worry about it until at least episode 4, and people took that as me saying don't ever affix. If you affix, you're bad. But what would you say, like, in terms of affixing, when do you think affixing actually became something people should have considered in terms of episode drops? Like, as
in NA, or just in history
in general? Like, when, like, I guess with each episode, like, say like episode 5 or 6, when was the point where you would say people need to start thinking about affixing? I think Ultra Hard like is a good example, but
if we're talking about like the global server pacing, right? Probably like you don't even need to affix at all until literally like episode 6, really, which is like now. where you even want to just do soft affixes right now and then just go hard on crafts when it comes out.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about like JP's pacing and everything like that, you would basically be affixed on up just about every corner of new content, because you want to make sure that you can do all the new content, because they are challenging and difficult, right? Because when stuff are new and everything like that, we're still really vulnerable to everything, and we don't have basically episode 6 balancing in episode 2, 3, 4 content.
That was pretty much the big thing with NA, was that from day one we had episode 6 balancing right, and that was the reason. Like there was legitimate reason for affixing back on JP, because it was literally like episode 1 tuning, episode 2 tuning, and the content was, like you were saying before, was actually hard on those episodes because it was they didn't have that balancing, you know, of end game.
Definitely.
So with everything that's going on, I mean, I do want to say I had this divide quest that I tried to run earlier, and I had this dude that was with me, and I thought, you know what, why not? You know, it's all fine. I don't mind it. I normally like running them solo, right? So we go in, and after the first quest, it just got worse and worse. I don't know what happened, but then I checked his gear. And I checked it because I wanted to see what was going on. Like, was it me? Was I like really holding us back? And he had stronger units than me, you know? And I love that. And I was just like, wait, so what's happening? Because, dude, we actually were getting like bees. That's how like bad it was getting. And it just turned out that the person was playing hero TMGs and just wasn't doing, you know, much, like no rotation. I was thinking, you know, me as Luster, hero TMGs should be taking like all the aggro, I guess, or something. But that just goes to show you, like, you can actually have like all this affixed gear and still need to work on just, you know, basic rotation. I think a lot of games teach us stuff like that. I mean, even stuff like what World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, it's like you got to have that. Or if you're trying to be like that, you have to have that mindset of keeping a certain control in your playstyle.
Yeah, you can buy if you've got the money, you can buy a Ferrari, but it doesn't mean that you know how to control that Ferrari when you're driving around corners and stuff.
Doesn't matter if I have a Ferrari.
I mean,
do you guys want a funny story about a Ferrari that I know?
Of course.
So I have this friend in school, right? So you know anime. There's always that like one rich kid trope and stuff like that. So this guy is like super rich, where he would literally sometimes just like flex and drive his dad's Ferrari to school.
Wow.
Yeah, and then one time he basically ended up crashing into a light pole.
Oh no, that's the thing. Is the like I don't like seeing misfortune in people, but when there's that cockiness, it's kind of like that was gonna come.
Imagine that though, actually ramming a Ferrari into a light pole. That is so sad.
You know, the interesting thing about a Ferrari is that you don't actually own the car. You just own the license to have the car in your possession, basically. So if you decided to put a decal on it, Ferrari will probably take you to court, because that's what actually happened to Deadmau5.
Oh.
They tried to make like a Nyan Cat themed Ferrari, and Ferrari was like, nah, not having that.
Serious? They can do that?
Yep.
Wow. That's so sad. I have a question though. Was the person okay?
Yeah. No, they were completely fine.
Just damaged ego.
So
this is yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna wrap up the story, just saying that, you know, he was just trying to like show off to like the guys and the girls, be like, "Yo, man, I got a cool car" and stuff like that. But I guess that's karma for you.
Is that a nice pun, karma?
Yeah. Anyways, rapidly moving on.
No. Like we still have like a lot of time. I was just like, I don't know. I'm actually enjoying this. Like, to be honest with you, this was like a very slow day for me. So my energy, like I said, I'm trying to be here, but like I'm here for this. This is a good conversation. But yeah, to move on with the JP overhaul that's coming. Would you mind explaining how is this going to work? So we have two updates coming for the 3rd and the 10th that were supposed to be last month or later or earlier this month?
Yeah, so basically, everything was slated for February, right? The graphical overhaul and everything is basically saying, okay, so PSO2 old engine is no more because we're going to use NGS's engine for base PSO2 now, which means that everyone will be able to do NGS models, aka use the NGS Salon basically, on base PSO2. So basically, everyone's going to be playing NGS, but without access to NGS, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That is basically what the graphics overhaul is going to be, right? And then they're just going to be adding a lot of this stuff where, hey man, we have all these like scratches with moving fingers now. We have all the new models, we have all the new stuff, the Screenshot Studio, and then we're going to be bringing in some of the old like rehash urgent quests and stuff like that, which is going to be very fun and interesting as well. But yeah, that's about it really. Like, honestly, having just a whole graphical engine overhaul is already huge content in and of its own, because you really want to try to see all the existing content anyways in the new graphics, right? And then having the new possibilities of being able to do all these screenshots and just having the new model and just being prepared to move yourself into NGS whenever that comes is already a huge prospect to begin with.
It's like they're laying down the foundation basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone, I think like this was one of the big thing for me too, right? Because when the first NGS beta came out, everyone's like, oh my god, I need to go to the NGS Salon so I can I need to get in the beta so I can prepare my character for NGS so I can actually play the game and not sit in the salon for 14 hours before playing the game.
You know what would be such a good feature is if they had a button you could press in the salon and it would basically spit out an attributes card, so that if you were to go and make that on like a cast instead of a human or something like that, you've at least got all the dials you can set and you can just follow that card. I think that'd be a good feature.
Yeah, the only feature I still want though is, where's the head turning?
In the salon.
So I can actually... No, just in general, so I can actually make super cool screenshots.
True.
Be like, you know what, maybe this pose, right? But then I want the head to nod a little bit towards this side or something like that.
Phantasy Star Universe actually had it where when you turn the camera, the character's head would turn around as well. So if you were to move your camera in front of you, facing your front.
Exactly.
But the problem was you'd be looking to the side, and then your head would just slowly move back.
I would like to change facial expressions. I want my character to smile. Even in the picture that you see right here, I was kind of hoping to make some silly face or something, but I can't get my character's facial expression to actually change. It's just that icy stare of darkness. I don't like it.
What about adding onto that camera so that I could press a hotkey and then my screen just zooms into my face and my character's doing an expression? That'd be great for streams, right?
Yes.
I think I do pretty well in the expression side of things most of the time when it comes to screenshots and whatnot, because it takes a very big finesse for you to be able to just sit there and experiment, be like, okay, which expression pause at which exact moment is perfect for your character's face.
Absolutely.
And that's very annoying to figure out. Sometimes I have to sit here for 2 hours just figuring out okay, this expression at this millisecond is the best.
And then there's it's pretty much wrestling with the controls as well, right?
So speaking of the Screenshot Studio, so New Genesis is getting its own brand new screenshot feature to basically help you guys take better and more imaginative screenshots when you go into the game. Yeah. So to ask you, because we know RC, we're looking at your screenshots right now and your background. What do you think goes into actually making a good screenshot?
When it comes to actually taking screenshots, right? You kind of have to think of it as regular photography. There's of course a lot of the terms that you will be hearing, for example, the composition, the exposure of the shot, the aperture, the lighting, the rules of third, the all those photography terms and everything like that. I don't really see screenshotting as very different from doing real life photography, which is also, by the way, a hobby I picked up later on after I already did all these like PSO2 screenshots and stuff. So basically you kind of need a good harmony between all these elements, like whether you want to do like a medium shot, a long shot, or like what kind of shot are you planning to do, right? And then you have to think of like the subject in contrast to the background, and then it's like, does the background enhance the subject, or is the subject trying to become the background of it, or like what is going on? So every picture should be able to tell a very nice like story, whether it be about the situation, the character, the everything, whether it be through light and darkness, through the expression, through the location, costumes, and just everything. Like when you think of a screenshot as you know that term where people say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can never be it can never be more true for screenshots, to be honest, if you really want to make a really, really good one, if you ask me.
It's kind of like making thumbnails on YouTube, right? Like, in that sense, you're looking at the text. You want the text to be readable, but if the background, is too loud, it will take away from the text. And then the other elements, it's same with like screenshotting, I guess. Like when you've got your characters in the focal point, if the background, the colors are wrong, it can basically clash with the colors of the character, all that stuff as well, right?
Mm-hmm. There's many ways to approach it, right? And then it really also depends on you personally as the screenshotter, where what kind of screenshots do you like to do personally that defines your characters, define your identity as like the quote-unquote photographer here, is how I see it.
That's actually some good tips, because I know one thing, it's been hard trying to get these pictures out. Like I try to take certain pictures for screenshots myself. That is a pain. I think one of the hardest things right now I'm trying to figure out is to get this, like the green screen that I'm using like here in this picture, and making it so I can actually take this picture out properly, but there's always like this green fade that's in the lining of the character. It's very
the classic photoshopping.
Yeah
It does require a bit of practice, but yeah,
it is tough to get good PSO2 thumbnails. Okay,
like if you're going back to when we were talking about content to make, right? I think a series of photography 101 for PSO2 people would froth over that, I think.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like screenshot art streams and things like that, but yeah, probably maybe a video series sometimes very soon.
Especially, I mean, the thing is as well, right? May as well wait for that new Genesis update, because otherwise you'll be updating it again.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm waiting for as well. I've been working on a lot of like big projects that I can't say right now, but it'll be huge whenever the graphics updates come, for sure. I'm very confident.
Looking forward to it.
Although speaking of screenshots and everything, right? Now that you're talking about green screen, I know this is a podcast and all the viewers who are listening to the podcast is going to be like so like flabbergasted by this, but King, I really wanted to show you this one image. I'm just going to pop it on the screen right. This is basically my best screenshot image by far.
That's pretty good. So it's basically the character it's the character basically that's cut out, and then you've got stock filter, and then like
completely green screen. Background is my own photography, and then just put on a lot of like filters. So this is like a mixture between my PSO2 photography and my real life photography.
It's really good.
Yeah. What shader is that?
Completely base PSO2. See, here's the thing. A lot of people always ask me like, RC, do you use reshade? Do you use G-shade? Do you use every... Nope, nothing.
Really?
Absolutely nothing.
That is gorgeous.
What are the steps in making it look so smooth?
Honestly, a lot of the screenshotting stuff, right? Really, this comes from how I screenshot personally. Is I do very close-up shots, because PSO2 doesn't have like those like high fidelity and things like that. So even if I launch a game in like 4K and stuff like that, but I take medium shots, it's still very like jagged edges and everything. I have to clean everything up manually, right? So I try to take a lot more close-up shots, so like you don't see those jags as much, and then you kind of just like clean it up a little bit by bit, and then just have the very high focus on the character, and then the rest of the stuff is just blending the character into the background. The reason I don't use a lot of the shaders is because if I ended up doing these like green screen stuff and whatnot, a lot of these shader stuff will kind of like ruin the natural lighting that I have set up in my room, which is a completely like flat white lighting, which I use to do the coloring and stuff edit later, right? But if that's already done in like G-shade, reshade, or whatever you want to use, it does get a little bit ugly from my personal experiences. So it's best for me to just play vanilla and just like take really, really raw screenshots.
Yeah,
And also to prove a point to people also that you don't need shaders to be beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And like, if anything, if you're making screenshots at your level, you kind of want the filters and all that stuff, like any color correction, all that should be like one of the last steps, right?
Yeah, if not nothing at all, because like a lot of the stuff that you're seeing just like transition on my screen right now here is just very base PSO2 screenshots that literally have like nothing on it at all.
Yeah, I get a lot of people saying that they'll ask me if I'm using filters, even though I feel like my game doesn't look that great. And a lot of the questions I got, like especially like when I was playing the Xbox version, was like people would come in and go, "Man, what shaders are you using?" And it's like, dude, this is on like Xbox One from like half a year ago. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I feel I don't know why. I feel like it's like one of those like big questions that's always asked. I literally have like this auto chat on like my streams and stuff. If anyone literally mentions like shaders, reshade, G-shade, my bot would just pop up and be like, nope, nothing's used.
It's pretty good.
That's actually really interesting. Like, and that's good. That's definitely good notes to take into when anyone wants to like try out your own screenshotting. I know like PSO2 has a lot of good locations. I like to use the Alliance Center sometimes just to find good places myself. So it is really interesting to have that kind of knowledge in the back of your head now, because I'm thinking like, oh, there's so much more I need to do.
Yeah.
when
I'm a huge advocate of just encouraging everyone to do things, you know, because like not everyone will have access to all those like G-shade or like shaders and stuff like that. I just want to show people that you can do it. You don't need it. You really don't. And just try to be, you know, inspirational, and everyone's just always like, what? You serious? And stuff like that. And I think that reaction is a very beautiful and genuine hit to everyone, because they're like, oh shit, if he doesn't use any, I can do it too. And that's exactly the impression that I want to bring into, you know?
Yeah, it's just like what Instagram, it's like making YouTube. You can do everything on your phone, basically. Like, you don't need to have a $5,000 camera. You don't need to have a PC that's, you know, got like, I don't know, quad hardcore graphics card. As long as you've got something that can run the game and can make the content, you can just do it.
I mean, as long as the content is good, right? That's the main point of it.
Yeah, as long as you can keep a consistent frame rate at the very least.
I don't think with like modern systems it's necessarily hard to do like a consistent 60 frames for like the standard games here and there. So I think it's okay for the most part.
Yep.
I think it's fine.
Yeah. So we're coming up, you know, it's been a nice year on PSO so far. I'm not gonna lie. You know, a lot of bridges have been built, friends have been made, and you know, as we're getting closer and closer to New Genesis, I know everyone's just getting a little bit more, you know, anxious because you're just anticipating it, and the pushback was kind of hard. But
really,
we're still here, huh?
Really, people are anxious about New Genesis.
Some people are.
Some people.
Yeah, I really, honestly, I really don't think that should be the case. Everyone should be very interested and excited for it, because, you know, Sega is also doing everything they can to help us really just ease into the transition and everything like that, because this is going to be what the future is. And like, it's not necessarily going to be like the new game and everything like that, because everything we do is not exactly like worthless, right? It's just something that's going on to the next one. It's like, for example, say if World of Warcraft 2 came out, but you get to keep basically quote unquote every progress that you have in the regular World of Warcraft right now, everyone would be ecstatic.
Yep. I think the boats...
and it's not like PSO2 is dying either. It's not going anywhere. You can always come back to just play it whenever you want to.
I think the buckets people fall into is their system might not be able to run it. Maybe they're in a country they can't afford like an upgrade, or just in general. Also, people that feel like because they've only had PSO1 for a year, they haven't had enough time of it. And also people that may just not like open worlds. Those are the main topics I hear pop up. And it's fair for a game not to be for them. But I think the majority of people are going to enjoy New Genesis.
Yeah. The only thing is like they try to do everything they can to help keep PSO2 itself also to a down minimum as usual, right? So it's like you don't have to play New Genesis if you don't want to, and I get it, especially for NA side. It's a lot more, you know, sentimental,
Yeah.
so to say, because it's like you guys only, like you said, you only had this for like a year, right? So it's like,
Whereas in Japan, you've had it for 8 years and you want something new.
more or less, yeah. But yeah, for the minimum for like the PSO2 new one is going to be at least like, you know, you need, I think it was like the GT 430, which is a super old graphics card actually. So they're still trying to make it very accessible because the minimum is also like Core i3 and stuff. But yeah.
Sorry, King, you were...
Yeah,
I was just
on
saying,
the new minimum is you're at least going to be running PSO2 NGS on like 15 frames if you want to do that, but you'll be running PSO2 base just completely fine.
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say,
what's up?
King, you were leading into something with New Genesis.
Oh, I was so
Sorry.
into this conversation. I completely forgot. I'm listening to this. This is so much passionate, and I love it. I'm just like, wow. But no, it's like, yeah, you know, some people are anxious, some people are excited. Hopefully, regardless of whichever one, you know, everyone's still anticipating New Genesis and are ready to play it and at least see what it has to offer, right? So we have the closed beta that actually got pushed back, and then the registration actually ends at the end of March. Did you guys sign up for the closed beta registrations?
Yes, I signed up for the first one, but I didn't get in. But I should be getting into the second.
The thing with the first to the second beta is everyone who signed up for the first beta is going to be automatically put in the raffle for the second beta, right? Which the second beta they're adding 70,000 players.
Is it so on that? Is it 70,000 plus the 50,000 before?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Amazing. So it's like 120,000 basically.
Oh, I hope they hit that number.
That's cool.
Yeah. Although the interesting thing, right, when it comes to the PSO2 NGS beta is that there are of course a lot of people who are desperate to get in, and they make a lot of alternate accounts for RMT trading and stuff like that. If you've been like watching a lot of stuff on like Twitter and stuff, people's been selling NGS accounts for literally like 10,000 yen.
That's like $100 US.
That should be like $100 US, somewhere around there. Yeah.
That's a
And
lot.
yeah, the peak number for the 50,000 for beta 1 was surprisingly only 15,000.
Oh, real?
Yeah.
At one time, yeah.
Yeah, 15k is the peak of all the 50k that did registered. So it's a bit like, to me, I feel it's a bit iffy that they're trying to let in all the beta 1 players back into this, right? Instead of like trying to like get more or like get more new players as well. But then I can also see a world where they want beta 1, right, to be like, oh, I played beta 1, so let's see what's fixed in beta 2 and stuff like that. But also in the same vein, they're also saying that there's no new content from beta 1 in beta 2. They're just doing bug fixes.
That's fine.
So with the 15,000 as well, that's like, it'd be interesting to get the number of the total people that got let in, how many of them actually played, because that would, people would be playing on different days at different times and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Like that.
The thing is like, and NGS beta was at a very, very specific times on very specific days. So you would imagine it would be more because they're trying to test the server load and stuff.
Yep.
So which is just, it's just a bit ambiguous and just makes me think like, just how many people is literally just trying to, you know, register for this and just like get dummy accounts out. Because like even now it's even worse, right? Because you can just register with anything. You don't even have to be a PSO2 account.
You
So
can
it's
even
like
have a Twitter now.
The chances can even be even lower, because I know some of my friends and stuff, they did register with their Sega ID, their Twitter, and their line. So it's like 3 registrations for like one person. It's like, okay.
Wow.
Wait. Oh yeah, you can use your line too. Does that mean PSO2 is coming to mobile phones?
I think it's just like a general format in Japan. Like Arcia probably know better than me. Like
line is like our big thing, yeah. A lot of you guys in the US and stuff might use like WhatsApp and stuff like that, but over in Japan and stuff, we use line.
And like line is kind of like Google or Apple, where it's basically got its own wallet as well, right?
The neighbor, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we the only time I really ever see line is on Gacha games.
Yeah.
Like the really
it's a very common thing for us. We use it all the time. It's basically our everything. It's our Discord, it's our search browser, it's our wallet, it's our everything.
Yep.
That actually sounds fun. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to test this out. Can we use it in
Yeah, there's an English version.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
It's
You
just
can
one
have
of
me
those
online too.
one of those situations where like just not many people in the West either know about it or they don't have enough friends to justify using it, right?
Yeah. Line is very fun because you can also do like the line stickers are exactly like what I really want Discord to have as well. That'd be very cool.
There's a lot of features I want from Discord.
God, Anamana just freaking at me next time.
What?
If only.
You said they just don't have enough friends. I'm just like, just at me next
I just mean
time.
like, I just mean friends that use the platform, right? Like you can have.
I know. I got a T. So what are you two? For you two, what are your thoughts on them bringing over weapons from Phantasy Star Online too? I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, but like your like final initial thoughts. How do you feel about it?
We're very
irrelevant.
divisive. Yeah, like I think RC's got the main point, but so RC, you go first with like the bottom line, and I'll bounce off with the second thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. So basically, to give context first of how exactly the PSO2 weapons transfer to NGS is that all the PSO2 existing weapons will have new potentials and everything in NGS and is converted to different rarities. For example, like the 15 stars and stuff are going to be converted to basically 4 stars, which is the quote unquote right now highest rarity in the beta of New Genesis, in which you still have to be a certain level, like level 15 or something like that, to be able to equip these weapons. And that's one thing, right? Number 2 is there is the multi-weapon system, in which to get the multi-weapon system, you have to basically combine 2 weapons of a different type in the same series together. For example, if you want to make a multi-weapon of a sword and a rifle, you would need to bring like a crass sword and a crass rifle together to be able to even use the multi-weapon system. And then you have to invest that much resources, right, into all of this, when you can literally just grab some of the newer weapons in New Genesis itself, which is going to be equally as powerful, if not more powerful. Well, it will be more powerful in the future as well as the game progresses on, but it's just something that will help a lot of players just ease a little bit into New Genesis, in that, oh hey, some of my stuff in PSO2 is still here in the game, right? But at the end of the day, long term, it honestly, in my opinion, would not matter more than like a few months into the game.
That's fair. Alright, so bouncing off that, and like every point you make is pretty much legitimate, and the only reason why you would consider that is, so first off, maybe for like a few levels you use one so that you can generate some materials so that you can work towards making that 1, 2, 3, 4 whatever star weapon, and then you can start moving from there. That's the only reason why I'd consider it, but if you're not using the multi-weapon system, then you're kind of probably limiting yourself. The other side is, what if they, and this is like outside of like equipping it as a weapon, but what if there's a system they add where basically you can bring those weapons across and use them as a camo? That'd be the only real like...
Oh, you can for sure. 100%. Like there's a very intricate camo system for New Genesis where every weapon can be transmogged and stuff like that.
Oh, so basically, yeah. So there's basically the weapon camo system for every single weapon you can equip, but you can, instead of just using the weapon camo, you can actually just use a weapon now.
Yeah, you can just transmog them.
I didn't know that. That's sick. That's awesome.
It'll be a very easy. It'll just be a very easy and nice system. It's just the weapons from PSO2 just won't be as high fidelity as the newer weapons, right? But then you can still use all those old weapons anyways to do screenshotting with, weapon poses.
There you go. Another
easy. That's the win-win for me.
Absolutely. That's really cool. That's got me excited.
I do kind of wish that they, I hope that they do add that the PSO2 when New Genesis comes out is having like the ability to put multiple weapon camos on multiple weapons as well. Just because if I go back to PSO2, I want to have that ability to do that as well. Because I love changing my style, and depending on which weapon I use, I like instantly swap my fashion. It's like, all right, now I want to instantly swap my weapon too. Just like that.
That's the one thing I'm kind of like jealous of a lot of other people, right? That you guys can just like swap your fashion, swap your everything freely, easily. But for me, who has very iconic characters and stuff like that, doing any drastic change is no good.
It's interesting because I get the opposite. Like, people are probably, that's Azelyra, but I get people trying to dunk on me saying Anamana doesn't change his clothes. which it's like, I mean, it's just a digital character, man.
Yeah, for me, it's just like I just do very subtle like clothing changes here and there, but like the general style and look and the schemes and stuff doesn't really like change, which is fine because it's very recognizable for people, and it's always something that's always very fun for me that I can make these characters that people just love.
Yep.
It actually does make the game kind of fun. I remember the first friend I met on PSO2 had 30 characters, and my God, every single last one of them was just something different. He's like, yeah, they're just RP characters. What? Yep, I use all of them every day. I just lost it. I didn't know how he could manage that time. It's just 30 characters, and me over here with my 1 or 2 characters. I have my male character and I have a female character, and they have a certain look to them, but I love to like dress them up differently, you know, just to kind of varietize it a little bit. Words. English is hard. But it does make the game a lot more fun. I mean, especially if you are someone who likes to play with multiple different characters and have that, you know, that little thing. And I know you call your characters your daughters, if I'm correct.
Yep, right? That is correct.
So it's great to kind of have that little connection with your characters. I don't know, to some people it may be weird. To me, it's really cool because it keeps you wanting to play the game more and invest more into making them look good while they kick some butt.
To me, it's passion, really. The whole daughter thing doesn't really exactly come from a place of like, you know, be like, oh, I'm trying to like roleplay or anything like that, but it more comes from what I say, a place of heart, right? Because I do genuinely care for like all these characters that I spent my blood and sweat and tears literally just like all these years, 30k hours, man. I spent a lot of time with them and really just perfecting their craft and everything. It's a lot. It's a lot to me.
I'm like slowly going through all my characters now, and I'm trying to get into 85 so I can farm divides with them. But as I'm doing this, I'm getting their aesthetic the way I want them, and it takes a lot of time. Like I think probably not as much as you put in there.
So how long did it take you guys, you know, to make your characters?
My main character, probably like at most like half an hour.
I'm not gonna lie, it took like 4 hours on mine. Don't judge. So I didn't get the body right the first time, and then I saw her like half naked because, you know, the way we had clothes. I used the Matoi thing with like the ice all over the body. I just looked at it and I said, this body does not look right. Like, why is the abdomen so puffed? And then I had to go back and work on it some more. And at that time, I wanted to make sure like the body was just perfect. Like, it actually looked like a human. Like, it looked like when people look at my character, they know that, hey, this guy knows what the female form looks like. He's not a complete moron. So I had to go back and make sure it was perfect. I even had someone go and co-sign on it for me just to make sure I had it just right.
My thing at the moment is all my female characters are thick, and getting the head proportion with a thick character is, I feel like, an art in itself. You got to make sure it doesn't look their head's tiny or something like that.
Oh my god, yes. Or
that doesn't help at all that a lot of the PSO2 costumes makes the characters basically look pregnant.
Yeah, and the hands clip into the sides as well a lot of the time.
God, hoodies.
Yeah.
Hoodies. All hoodies make me look like I have a baby belly.
It's so weird. Like, the character can look fine, but then the hoodie just pops out in front for some reason.
I just say, take it back. That's
the
why I'm loving
the PSO2 El Clasico.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite outfits right now is the Barza ratio, just because it just shows off those abs while still keeping a little bit of that thickness intact, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. But what about you, RC? How long does it take for you to make your characters?
Now, see, here's a very fun trivia. If you like watch my art streams or things like that, right, you will know the grand reveal that, believe it or not, I don't salon my characters, period. Basically, whatever form they come out of the salon initially on the initial creation is exactly what you see right now. Which means I have like 400 something salon tickets stacked.
Damn, I'm slowly.
I actually don't salon them at all because I'm super confident with just like doing everything the way they are meant to be.
What about?
So it's a testament to just like taking the hours and hours and hours of just sitting there and just refining, because I had this one time where I was just sitting with a friend after dinner. And then I was like, okay, yo, help me look at like this design, right? And then the next thing, I'm like, okay, I just need to put this accessory here and we're done. And then you look at the time and it's like 8 a.m. the next day. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So I guess like when you're
Oops.
saying saloning, you mean basically like the body. Because there's some things obviously with the salon where you have to use it or even just use the menus.
Yeah.
Hairstyles and stuff like and accessories and stuff like that. But just the
in general,
physical...
just like the whole face and body and everything is a one and done for me.
That's fair.
Which is actually very impressive considering a lot of people, you know, everyone would also always be like sitting here tweaking and everything like that. For me, there's of course a lot of stuff that I do have to like eventually tweak and whatnot as well. But I decided to leave some of the things there sometimes because I'm like, not everything has to be perfect, right?
You gotta, that's the big thing for me is like, you need to be okay with being good enough because at some, like it's diminishing returns at some point, right? And you may even be muddying your character even further by tweaking it too much.
And it's not even that because it's also the thing with about people in real life confidence and stuff too, where you don't have to be perfect to be good. It's just those insecurities where everyone's just like, I need the best thing as I can do. But at the end of the day, if you're happy with what you have, you are the real winner.
Yeah, you're making it for you.
I like the way you think about things. I know we never actually got into a conversation before. We're bonding here. Anamana, we're always bonding.
Always.
We're still bonding. Bonding here. So here's my thing. Because I haven't seen anything on New Genesis, right? I know Anamana, you know, RC, you don't know. So there's a challenge right now. I'm not watching anything on New Genesis. I've seen one clip, and that's because they practically forced it on me in a group chat.
The Dragon Ball Z one.
Yeah. Other than that, I have seen zero, zip nada. But from what you two have seen so far, I'm gonna take an L on this one. What features are you looking forward to testing out the most in the next closed beta?
Screenshot.
There you go.
That was quick.
I feel like there was a little bit of screenshot stuff coming out of first closed beta, but I felt like a lot of the streams I saw were just people running around or just idling in lobbies, pretty much. But
yes, and it makes me so sad because beta 2 doesn't transfer any character data over, which means you're forced to play the game.
Yep. I think what I'm looking forward to the most is, we talked about this in the last one, but trying to find all the little, like what Azelyra said before about weapon camos and being able to just use a weapon and just chuck it in. It's just small little features like that I really want to have a look at. I think what I'll probably do is, well, if we get in, we're probably streaming it, right? But I think what I'll have a focus on is if someone asks me something in stream, I'll check it out. I just want to try and find all the little features that are hidden, or at least they may be minor tweaks to the system, but they could be actually massive quality of life changes. Yeah. What about you, King? Like, from what you know so far?
I am interested in trying out the affix system. If there's anything that I've learned from what I've seen so far, I at least watched the first two streams that they did, but I didn't watch like the what, I don't know how many hours of gameplay they did, but I didn't watch that. But I am looking forward to the playstyle in gameplay. Although it's kind of weird, I know, but it's like games like that I've known to kind of have a big overhaul change somewhere in the middle. And what they'll do is they will, release patches and stuff over time, and then the game will become a lot harder, or things will become more technical. I'll use that word. So I'm looking forward to see the game go from like hacky slashy, unga bunga pew pew, to like, okay, now I need to think, or like, I've always said that, like, I want to be able to see, tech classes, support classes have more of a tech support role rather than just like unga bunga power, El Grants, brr. So that's what I'm excited to see. If it doesn't come, I'm still happy because I love Phantasy Star. But if it does, it's just a bonus. That's just a bonus. I'm like, yes.
I'll tell you what.
Support classes actually support.
I hope that I don't have to do tech support when New Genesis drops.
I mean, I'm not saying you would have to, but I mean, like,
I mean,
would
in
have-
general, remember with like the Windows launch?
oh tech support. Oh, you know what? There's a joke around that somewhere. Tech support. I'm just saying. Hopefully everything releases smooth. And I will say the one thing I'm really looking forward to testing is just testing. Like, I'm just looking forward to day one.
Yeah,
That's like the biggest thing. It's going to be so packed, and it's going to be so much fun just watching people come back to the game or try it for the first time.
yeah. Like, we can expect that day one's going to be like a kind of a poop shoot, people trying to get in, but give it a few hours. I can't wait for being there after a few hours of the game being live and just like coming back to Central City and just seeing it full of people starting the game.
Yeah, we all need to take a group picture before the beta ends.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just everybody.
Only assuming you get in though.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. I'm known to have bad luck.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
Unless you picked up like a Chrono Stone from like an EQ drop. That's like the amount of lottery luck you need probably.
Okay, listen, all right. I have not been watching anything. If I don't get into the beta this time, I might actually cry because I'm like, that's the only way I get to see anything. So I want to be able to like experience it with my own eyes and be in awe and just love everything and only know joy for like, I don't know how many hours the closed beta's for, but I want to experience nothing but pure joy.
There's no information on the length of this time's beta and stuff like that yet.
Yeah. We only have like the date the registration closes, right, at this point.
Yeah, because everything's been delayed, so it's even more like a little bit of a question mark on what exactly is going to be happening and things of this sort, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but more sometimes even with delays and stuff like that, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be like all good, all smooth, all buttery, everything's like perfect and stuff like that. So I guess if there's anything I want to say is just like temper your expectations a little bit, but also stay optimistic,
Yeah. And if you do have problems, report them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I think that's the one thing. I think that's the one thing we could really touch on that. Because I used to work for WB Games, so I worked on like the Mortal Kombat mobile games and stuff like that.
Wow.
And like the biggest things that we would tell people is like, if you have issues with this stuff, just like Anamana said, please report it. Like they can't fix it if they don't know what's going on. And the one like PSA that I would just want to put out into this podcast is that before you go and yell at them on Twitter, submit a ticket.
Yeah, that's
please submit a ticket.
The biggest mindset I feel like I mean I've had this very long ago when I was younger, but don't treat a beta as like an opportunity to play the game early. Look at the beta as obviously that, but also to help the game be the best game it can be.
Yeah, I mean the date that matters the most is not the beta, but the day one of release.
Mm-hmm. And if you got access to the beta, you had problems, and the launch goes terrible, then you've kind of got a little bit of responsibility there.
Yeah,
it's all your fault.
But whether or not the devs can fix all the problems in time is up to them.
Yeah.
Right? But at least like if you did your part, you did your part.
No game releases without bugs. Like there's a term called known shippables where you just release the game and there may be something that's a little bit janky, but it's good enough. And like if you look back, like a lot of time people will be like, well, we've only had this problem recently, but you go back to Super Nintendo days and I can tell you there were, a year goes by when a game's been released and it had bugs in it. They end up releasing like a new shipment of the game that did have a bug fix on that stuff. You just don't see it because they don't release it as like 1.1 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I will say hopefully around the time this game comes out, I do know we're getting, I know not everyone's going to be taking it. I'm going to get slightly political here, but we should have the vaccines, sometime around late spring, summer. So hopefully with that, they'll be able to get back into the offices, get back to work and, be able to put this stuff out at a decent time without many, issues or pullbacks or whatever. So
Sega in Japan has actually been doing pretty okay-ish with everything because they have already moved everyone to online working and everything of the sort, and then they have their whole office building like quarantine and all the sort. So it's a very specific working procedure that is working for them right now.
Mm-hmm. The biggest problem with being in an office environment like that is that is probably like network transfer would be the biggest thing they'd have to get around. But Japan has pretty good internet connection in general, which would probably be better than if it was in America, basically.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty decent considering there's also like free Wi-Fi everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
5G coming soon.
I do have a lot of complaints myself though too about like how all the free Wi-Fi in Japan and stuff works, but I'm not gonna get into that for now because that's gonna go into a whole different rabbit hole which we have no business going into.
That's fair.
Honestly, I would love to talk about that, but we kind of ran out of questions.
Really?
Yeah, that was everything. We just, you noticed, because we went, like I told you, we go on tangents like somewhere in between, and it just fills up the time. We're actually well over. But I do want to say, that is our time for today. RC, we definitely got to talk some more. I don't know if you're willing to stick around a little bit after and just kind of have like a little off-screen conversation. But just to let the rest of you all know, you can find this podcast on all major podcast platforms and live stream archives on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify as well. And I do want to thank you all for coming in and just having this little chat with us today. We were paying attention to you all, and we just love the support. I'm Anamana. I am Anamana. Yes. That guy right there is XingKazma.
I'm King.
XingKazma with an X. Kazuma. And we'll catch you next week. And you all have a great day. Hey, but just to let you know, RC, where can we find you when anyone wants to come and check out some of your beautiful art and gameplay?
Social media is everything, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, or, well, Twitch as well, /Azelyra. Simple.
There you have it. We will see you all next time for more Oracle Fleet. Until then, hey, so we do this thing at the end of every stream. Yeah, I'm trying to make it a thing. So we look up and we say, until next time, and may your guiding light shine. Are you ready to say it with us?
Wait, hold on. Can you repeat that again? Until
next time. You say, until next time, and may your guiding light shine. Just like Kuna.
We do a countdown and we all do it together.
Yeah.
So it's until next time, your guiding light shines. That's it.
Until next time, and may your guiding light shine.
And may your guiding light shines.
Yes.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Until next time, and may your guiding light shine. That's gonna be like the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
I think that was actually the most in sync we've ever had it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Convenient.
Mm-hmm. All right, King, send it out.
Yo, we'll see you guys next time. You all have a great day.
Bye.